What's going on, guys? So we got our exhaust system back on. Our manual swap is just about complete. All we really have to do is some interior work to the shifter, some wiring, cleaning all that good stuff off, putting the center console on, and then we'll be completely finished. But before we do all that, I like to take my car on a little bit of a test drive just to make sure that everything is working properly. Mechanically, that is, the clutch, the gears, transmission, all that good stuff. So we're basically going to be jumping one pin to get the car to start, and then we're going to be taking the car around the block just to make sure that everything is working, so that we don't have to rip the entire thing back apart, the whole center console, to get at something mechanically, and just to make sure that we don't finish the swap completely and then have something go wrong. Because I'm still working on it, I just finished putting the exhaust on, I'm still kind of in that I'm ready to work on this thing mode. So if I want to address anything, if I need to fix anything that's wrong with the swap, I want to do it now instead of later. So we're going to go take it on a little test drive, make sure everything is working the way it should, and then from there we're going to do all of the wiring, button the center console back up, all that good stuff, and then we'll be good to go. So for the test drive, we don't need a lot of tools besides the jack to get it off the stands. We will also need a little jumper wire. So this is, I believe, 22 gauge wire, and I just sort of flip the ends up and sort of crimp them down to get it to sit in that little harness better. So we're going to be jumping 2 terminals on that automatic transmission harness to get the car to start and run. I also used a 1/4-inch driver and a 13mm socket to reconnect the battery so we can basically start the car. So the first step obviously is to get this thing back on the ground. Alright, once the car is on the ground, we're going to have to reconnect the battery just to, you know, get the car to start. And that is a simple 13. Alright, so now we're going to be turning our attention to this guy. So this guy right here is the automatic harness. So this guy actually plugged into the automatic shifter, and basically we're just going to jump a couple of wires from him to get the car to start. Now, because we are just going to drive it, we're going to use something like this to jump it, and we're basically just going to jump them in there and start the car and go take it for a test drive to make sure that everything mechanically is working. This is just a test drive. This is not how the car is going to sit. Obviously the center console isn't on, so we're not going to do any other wiring besides that, just this for now, because I really want to drive this thing, honestly, and I'm sure you guys will too. If you look really closely on the edges here, it'll have numbers on it, so like pin 5, 6, 7, stuff like that. So if you just look on the side here, it's going to say the little number. So for my OBD2 guys, we are going to jump pin 5 and pin 7, so I believe that would be these two right here. So now that should allow the car to start. So I got the car in neutral, got the clutch in. Here we go. Ooh, I'm gonna let it warm up for a second. So the last thing we need to do is get our shift knob on. So because I put new transmission fluid in, I'm just gonna let it sit here and idle for a little bit, pick the fluid up and get it moving around in that transmission. Let's go for a cruise. Now, for the initial test drive, it's going to be a little loud simply because we don't have any sound deadening. So there's a little rubber boot that goes in there that'll keep some of that noise down. So we're not really too worried about that right now. What we are worried about is any mechanical issues with the car. So this is basically our drivability test. So while I am still in that I'm ready to work on the car mode, I want to figure out that everything is working properly before I button the whole manual swap back up. So like, is my shifter working? Do I have all of my gears? Are all my gears working? Does the clutch feel right? If the clutch is kind of soft and has like a dead spot, I might want to rebleed it. Things like that, you know. Do I hear any strange noises? Is it clicking? I don't know. Maybe I didn't button back up. Maybe I forgot to put the bolts back on that hold the center support bearing in. Just something trivial, stupid like that, you know. Is it getting into gear all right? Maybe I didn't have enough transmission fluid. You know, if you're having issues getting it into gear, maybe you don't have enough transmission fluid, or maybe you need to rebleed the clutch. Just things like that. We want to make sure that the car is working as a drivable car, you know what I mean? So things like reverse lights, that's not going to affect how you shift or how the clutch feels. That's just basically going to give you reverse lights. It has nothing to do with drivability. Just go for a little cruise, just feel it all out, make sure everything's working the way it should. You know, if you removed your intake manifold to get to those starter bolts, you're going to want to make sure that your car is idling fine, you don't have any vacuum leaks, things like that, you know. Just feel out the car, make sure everything's 100%, and don't go beat on it, because we did put a different clutch in, we did put a new clutch in, or used clutch in. All those clutches require break-ins, at least a 400 or 500 mile break-in period. And I'm gonna go over that in another video for you guys, so don't out of the box start romping on it. Just be gentle with the car, just let it feel itself out, you know, make sure everything is working properly. And you know, if you're having any mechanical issues, like if the clutch doesn't feel right or it's not working or engaging all the way, you might want to rebleed that slave or make sure that the slave is sitting in properly. Just things like that, you know, make sure that the car is a working, drivable car. And that's basically what we're here to find out. So once it's good, everything's shifting, the clutch is working, everything's working beautifully, I can go ahead and finish up my wiring and button the whole car back up. You know, just clean everything up and then that'll be it. It'll be done 100%. So thank you guys so much for watching. Keep it fresh and I will see you guys later.